You know, Daniel, he doesn't have money, right? You know he doesn't have money, right?
Yeah.
I would have embarrassed you hardcore at the grocery store to pay.
Oh, God. What'd you do? Try to give, like, the cashier a tip?
Yeah, I did do
Oh,
that.
no.
I don't get involved in the Twitter back and forth. I just don't. Except when I'm
Yes,
really...
you do.
He's so well-spoken, right?
That they can't question him because they feel like he's right.
So, yeah, they're like, oh, maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think it's a real word. It's certainly not a real word.
Okay.
Real word?
Not a word.
Got it. When you leave the strip joint, it is so sunny and bright.
And you feel like such a piece of shit.
Yeah, you're hungover already.
It's like, what did I do in there?
What was I in there for?
God.
How long was I in there? 10 hours?
Like, even as a woman, I felt
have 10
gross.
hours of stripper stink?
This girl, beautiful and funny and smart. You know that. Like,
Yeah.
so much potential.
Actress, comedian.
I mean, hilarious, right?
Skits. all
Nothing
the
was
bits.
over the line. That's why,
She
like,
was very clever and quick.
and I said, no needles in this house. No needles in my apartment. Because I don't want to find you dead.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, welcome back.
What's up?
Not much.
That's our most riveting start yet, huh?
I know.
Riveting. That's your word. You used to say to me all the time.
It is my word, and
When I
I
would
hate that you stole it.
I used that word well before you did.
Are you crazy?
Well, I mean, well, hold on.
No.
I say I don't, not before you, but I've used the word with like on my own before I heard it from you.
In your life.
Yes, many times.
Sure, not many times.
Riveting.
No, I just hate that you stole it. I don't have any words from you I want. So, like,
You have a lot of words.
I have
for me.
nothing.
No?
There's nothing you say that I like, ooh, I wish
Yeah,
I
I just
I wish
embarrassed
I
you.
had that word.
I would have embarrassed you hardcore at the grocery store today.
Oh, God. What'd you do? Try to give, like, the cashier a tip?
Yeah, I did do
Oh,
that.
no. You don't do that at grocery stores.
No, but this one was funnier because, well, this one was fine, but like, it was actually the bad guy. Little kid. He's like 15, 16, you know?
Yeah.
So the thing was, I started, like, he wasn't there yet. And I bring my own bags to Sprouts because I'm a responsible person.
Yeah.
And like, I bagged the first one. And then he came, he's like, I'll do that. And I was like, okay. So I made a big deal I gave him $10.
Okay.
And I said, you owe me 85 cents
You're an idiot.
because I did the first one.
Uh-huh.
And I made a big stink about it. And the lady next door was like, what does he owe you 85 cents for? Like all mad. And I was like, and the lady was laughing. It was funny.
Do you
And I
enjoy
also-
it?
Yeah. I also did the other dumb thing where like I came up to the grocery store and I was like snacking as I went on stuff that I bought. And I went up there and I was like, excuse me, this is like half full. I don't know what happened to it. It's in my tummy.
Oh.
And she laughed and we had a great time. It was a blast. I was so funny. Oh my God. It was Comedy
I would
Central.
have gone to the car.
You would have been like, oh my God, you're so
I would just gone to
ridiculous.
the car.
And you should have seen the smiles on their faces. And I told them, I was like, as I was leaving, you don't forget, you owe me 85 cents because you don't have it on you.
Like, do you just go to do these things?
That's the only reason.
Like, you're like, oh, let me go with the cashier today.
No, I went there and I bought some bread and stuff.
Bread.
I bought fruits
it?
and bread because I've been playing. I've been playing poker again.
Yeah, you're doing well, right? Got a final
don't know.
table coming?
Yeah, tomorrow. Well, it's for you guys. It'll be of yesterday.
It'll be over.
I come in. There's 7 left. I'm 7th of 7. I was chip leader.
I was pissed.
Why
not
did
gonna
you?
lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate it.
It went.
Because I looked and I was like, I laid down and I was already kind of in a bad mood, but I laid down and it was like 2.3 million chip leader. I was like, I can relax. I'm going to go to sleep. And then you text me and then I looked and you were in last place. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
So we're playing a weird format. Like if you guys play poker, no limit hold'em. This one's called Maury's Mix. And get this, I went to AI just to show you how good AI is because I wasn't sure what the mix is.
Uh-huh.
And I asked AI, I was like, what's Maury's Mix?
Mm-hmm.
Gave me all the games.
Yeah.
It's like stud, Raz, Badoogie,
Yeah.
Deuce to 7 triple draw, limit hold'em, and limit Omaha High.
Badoogies
Okay.
your favorite game, yeah?
So it's all, no, God, it's not. But it's all one winner games. So the swings happen, more rapidly.
Yeah.
And Maury, actually, for those that don't know, Maury he runs the whole production.
Maury Escandani.
Yeah. So one of the things we have to do tomorrow, which is different, like this is the reason he doesn't play. He could play the tournaments, but he doesn't want to play because he works there. He has access to the hole cards. So when we go to a live
He runs
stream,
the whole thing.
Yeah. So if we were doing it on a live stream, what we use is these RFID cards.
Yeah.
So you can you can read them and you can know what everybody has. You see it on the screen.
Mhm.
Well, since Maury has access to that, he doesn't play. But when he does make a final, it's like the only tournaments he ever plays. He won the last one he played, and he's like, when we do that, you can't show the whole cards.
Well, what a stand-up guy to not
Well, it's
look
not
at the
just
whole
him.
cards.
Nevada Gaming too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they wouldn't allow that. That's
I
not
don't
a
know.
good look.
He is a stand-up guy, though, I think.
Of course.
I love
100%.
Maury.
Yeah. He beat me in a pot late where I took a little bit of a shot. I did something good.
You
in
could have saved
theory.
320,000.
I did something good in theory, right? But I picked the wrong target. So that's that. But here's the thing. This week, because the structures are different, we're playing mixed games. We've been going late, man. And you
It was
know I
like
don't
2
like that.
a.m. and I was like, oh, you're going to be bitching and complaining about driving home?
Well, because that's the thing people don't. I almost was going to stay at Eddie's,
I know.
but then I called. He was like asleep. You know.
Oh, you still could have just knocked on his door.
I don't. How do I get up there? This was before.
Your name's on the list.
No, but not for last night. Because last night it was
Oh.
fine. I'm coming home.
Okay.
But the thing is
Just get a key to his house.
I've been going late to start. I've been going on time because it's limit. And then we've been going. I hate. That's the thing. As I was thinking when I was young, I used to love playing poker, going to Bellagio or Mirage, and then like when the session was over, we would go to breakfast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it would be like all night.
Yeah.
You know, we'd play till like the wee hours. and then
It's
we'd-
just different. You think
Yeah.
about the things you
I was-
could do, your body could do.
Oh, in my 20s, we used to do strip joints. Like we would go to strip joints all the time. So
yeah.
we'd go play poker.
We went together before.
Yeah, I know.
Mm.
We went to strip joints, and I remember just that, like, you know, you just when you're in a strip joint, you lose. There is no time. Time doesn't exist.
Just like a
But what you
casino.
do notice is like when you leave the strip joint, it is so sunny and bright.
And you feel like such a piece of shit.
Yeah, you're hungover already.
It's like, what did
You
I
feel
do in there?
What was I in there for?
Oh, God.
How long was I in there? 10 hours.
Like, even as a woman, I
I
felt
have 10
gross.
hours of stripper stink.
And I would go right back
Mm.
and do it again.
I'm gonna tell my one stripper story because it involves my mother.
Ew.
Okay. Well, not like that. Why do you just go
Well,
ill?
that's weird.
No, it was. Well, it's kind of weird, but like, I don't know. I went to it was Cheetahs way back in the day. I was
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Huck Seed and some other people, and this stripper, she just like loved me. I'm like, okay,
That's what they do.
well, this one was like,
You got
I know
tricked.
that. No, I know. You know, there ain't no sex in the
She's in
champagne
love
room.
with you.
No, but she was all over like this, and then it was like, and then I went to eat. I went out with her for a bit, and
Went
remember-
out with her.
I remember I brought her to like Bellagio once, and all the guys playing the big game, Ellie Lesra, Chip Doyle. I walked in with her, and she was like, you know, out, and
Mhm.
they were like googly eyes, whatever.
You're so weird.
But then I was broke. I didn't have no fucking money. I couldn't play. I was
Yeah.
playing I was staying at Budget Suites,
Uh-huh.
$700 a month, one little room, whatever.
Yeah.
She would come stay with me there.
Mhm.
Well, my mom, you know, would come to visit. Okay.
Yeah.
So this girl, she was nice enough. She was like, "Do you want to take my mother to lunch?"
Okay.
Okay,
Do
go
it.
for it. Took my mom.
Oh,
to
your
lunch.
mom would be rough.
She took my mom to like
Oh,
a buffet
God.
because my mom likes buffets. She's all about the buffet. She
Yeah.
hates the fancy French restaurants. She wants to just like pick at this and that, and she'll take her little bag, steal stuff for later.
Yeah.
That's just,
I bet
the
you were
Romanian
worried
way.
about that lunch or dip breakfast or whatever it was.
Well, what happened at that lunch was because like later the girl told me, she's like, your mom? I was like, yeah, what happened? She's like, well, she said to me, she goes, and I'll do it in my mom's voice. She goes, yeah, but Daniel, he doesn't have money, right? He doesn't have money, right?
Yeah.
She's like, why did she say that? I'm like, I don't know, because I don't have no money.
because she doesn't lie.
Because I don't
She
have
tells
money.
the truth.
But she was like, my mom's looking out.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was always looking out. She would have looked out. She looked out even before with the other one. But
Yeah.
yeah, what was I going with that? No
She
worries.
was blunt and funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But that I don't know. Just
I don't know. Why did we get on strip clubs?
what did we get on strip clubs? We were talking about playing late.
Playing late and then
You
getting
know,
going there or whatever.
Because it all started like the whole discussion about playing, like it's the Phil Hellmuth thing, right? He did this. He was so proud that he got 1 million views. 1 million views.
we
1
talked
million
about that
views.
last week.
I know.
Okay. I didn't know
Okay.
that was a thing. You
You know.
forgot maybe.
Yeah, I did a little. But
Okay.
not really.
Okay.
But yeah, like no, I get what he means. I just don't like. I don't like 3 a.m. is too much.
It's too much.
Especially with the drive. If it really is different. And like if you can play till 3, gotta be back at noon, you just go to street. That's why during the World Series, I'm getting a room over at the Horseshoe this time.
Okay. But you could stay with Eddie. He lived with us for 1.5 years.
I know I could, but
So you could just have
I
your
could
own
also-
room
but
there.
Even then. So gotta get out, leave, drive over
yeah.
there, get to. This is much better when I'm done,
You go to the room.
straight to the bed, head to pillow. You know me, I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
fall asleep in 5 minutes. You always get mad at me.
No, I get mad at you when you're faking.
This is the thing.
I don't get mad at you unless you're faking.
But you think I'm faking.
You are faking.
You do not know.
That's why you've laughed about it when we talk about it. When you
Nope.
there's no possible
1240.
way on earth that we're speaking like we're talking right now, and then You just close your eyes like this.
It's not true.
That's not a thing.
Okay, so it's 12:40 became 11:40, by the way, now.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be 9:40 at some point soon, and then 8:40.
Well, listen, if we discuss what we're about to discuss, yes.
We'll see.
Okay, you want to go there?
Do you think that you're going to determine an infant schedule? That's hilarious.
No, I just said it could be.
Could be anytime. That's the thing.
Yeah, but likely earlier.
You don't know though. They wake up.
Okay,
They
you
wake
do
up,
know.
They wake
okay?
up every 3
Yeah.
seconds.
Okay, so when people have kids, they don't wake up later in the day. They don't wake up at like 2 and go, I wonder where they're at.
No, they sleep at random times when they're a
I
baby.
know they do, but the bottom line is kids in general, as they get up early. They don't wake up at noon.
Talking about infants because you forget that part.
Yeah, I got that. Well, during night, you're going to be taking
Daniel
care
wants to
of the
skip
baby.
over that entire part of having like a baby and just have a 3-year-old. He's so
Yeah.
like, you just go.
Listen, the
and then
infant
I'll
part,
do the infant part.
That's your job.
I know, isn't
okay?
it crazy? He thinks that like the baby's gonna come out ready to play hockey.
All my friends
something.
who just had a kid, they said, you know what? I don't do anything. I'm not going to be that guy.
Who?
I'm
What
gonna do-
friend?
I'm not telling on them.
You don't have
but
any
there's
friends.
two. There's two of
Just
them,
kidding.
and they just had babies, and they're like, I don't do shit. She does everything.
And
It's like a
you're
baby.
talking in that dumb way, so
Well,
I know
no,
who
I'm
you're
just
talking
saying.
about.
It's just like I don't do anything. You know?
Yeah,
She does it all. She
sure
takes
you'll
care
get
of
away with
everything.
that around here.
No, I already know. Listen, you think I don't know? But I'm saying you're already a night owl,
Mhm.
so you don't sleep,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate.
Well,
but
anyway, we don't know what's happening.
I
yet.
do.
We'll
Okay,
see.
well, go ahead. Tell them. You want to tell them? What do you want to tell them? Tell them what you want to tell
No, we just did the transfer.
them.
We actually did the embryo transfer. I
It's
went.
a big fucking deal.
It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. They were like, "Man, I can't believe your husband's not here for this."
They did not say that.
I'm kidding.
Man, listen, I was in a stud
They-
pod.
They didn't
Yeah.
say that.
I
They,
just-
but
I
they
would've
said
went-
most people do come together, but
I would have went, but then I thought, like you said, you go in the room and her legs are out. I don't know.
well,
don't
I
need to
was
see.
I was like next to her face,
Yeah. Okay.
and then
So you didn't see
watching
the
the
badge.
screen.
You weren't like,
Just like you would if there was a delivery. We wouldn't be
Okay.
down there.
yeah.
You would always be up here. So I just sat next to her and watched the ultrasound screen, and I was explaining it to Christian a minute ago. There's a little thin tube that's clear that they put inside to her uterus, and she didn't feel a thing, and she wasn't numbed or anything. Like she didn't feel anything. And the embryo, they unthaw it in the morning. I got an email at 9 a.m. saying it unthawed perfectly. I was like, that's great. And then I get there, and they're very rushed. So you're sitting there. Dr. K is in between her legs. She has this tube, and she's like, okay, bring it now. And like they have to bring it from the freezer wherever. It was under a microscope, I guess. You bring it now, and then she puts it in carefully, and she tells me to wait. And there's gonna be like a flicker, and you'll see the embryo flick inside
You can
there.
see it.
On the screen. You see the little. It's like a white, and it goes. And then
My spunk.
my egg, and
Mm.
then it's right there. And first time it didn't come off, and so you can't see it on the tube. It's clear. She can't see it. It's only under the microscope that you can really see it.
Mhm.
So she goes, okay, check and see if it came off. So they run back in, put it under, and she go, he didn't come off, right? And they're like, he's hanging onto the side of the tube. He's stubborn like your husband.
That's what they said.
That's what she said. And it
Well,
was
how
funny.
am I stubborn?
It was just funny because she's
Listen,
like,
you get older, you get more stubborn. It's just a rule.
it was a
You-
joke, and she
Yeah.
was right. So
Okay, fair enough.
she put it back in, and then this time you could see it go. And I sent you the video
Mm.
of that, and that was it. I mean, it was very fast, and she had to lay back with her legs up for like 15 minutes before she could get up or whatever. And now they said rest for days and not do anything crazy. She's not allowed to she's there no working out, no nothing.
Right. So you got to meet her.
She was great.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd already talked to her every day. We talk
Yeah.
every day.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she's really my size. And we're the same blonde. She's 5'2", like 110 pounds, blonde, little,
Mhm.
we're very similar.
Can I tell the people about the hotel thing?
Oh, wait, can I finish?
Yeah.
Let's
go
see.
ahead.
I think
All
there's the next update, dummy.
I'm just,
So then
sorry,
it was like, what'd they say? 10 days for the pregnancy test.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that'll be March 8th or 9th. March 8th or 9th, we'll know for sure if it's positive. If it's negative, it's a letdown, but that's how it goes.
Mm.
She texted me today and said, I feel really good. I feel really good about this. She's like, I know this is crazy. She said it again today. I feel emotional,
Aw.
like a pregnancy emotional.
Mhm.
And she's like, I know that sounds nuts because it's early,
It's too early for that.
but I feel different. I
No.
said, okay, that's awesome. Now you can talk about what? The hotel?
Yeah, I was gonna say because you showed me like obviously what you do when you do these things with an agency is you give them money for like expenses and
An
stuff like
escrow.
that, an escrow, and they sort of take money out or whatever, and they book everything, and
Like her
They book-
health insurance or doctor's appointments. And
so they
yeah.
booked her at a what do you call one of those? It was almost like a budget suite style thing.
It wasn't where we would put her.
No, but it was close to the place,
It was
right?
6 minutes, yeah.
So when you saw it, and you
I was
told
like,
me, I was like,
no.
nah, man, that's not how we roll, yo.
No, because it wasn't a place you could get food. You were
No.
off the side
Like
of
the whole
freeway.
point was she gets to be away from her daughter for a minute, enjoy, have a little
But
room
also,
service.
She's not from here.
Yeah.
She doesn't know where she's going. It's off the side of the freeway. There's no like food for her to
no
get.
rooms, no movies,
There's nothing to do. And
Yeah.
she's in this like room with nothing. And we were like, that ain't
So yeah,
happening.
we took it upon ourselves
yeah.
to just be like, no, we'll get you a room at the Red Rock because it's
So-
really nice there.
Yeah.
And then you
she was
did-
so happy.
Yeah, and then I would have sent champagne, but like no drinking before the pregnancy.
No. And she's not a huge drinker.
No, whatever. But
So
it's
she's
nice,
like-
it's a nice gesture.
But do you know what I did get her?
Mm.
I got her 18 pale pink roses because pink fertility.
Yeah.
And I got her this little bracelet that they had there that is like a pink gemstone. And it's for like love, fertility, and stuff like that. She had it on when I saw her. And she was like, that's so sweet. No one's ever been so nice. I was like, we
Yeah,
just
that's
want
how
you to
we
be
roll.
really comfortable. And, you know,
Yeah.
and I told her to watch movies and order room service and do like whatever. And she was like, she texted me before and said, are you sure? I'm like, yes, whatever you need.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
you know how like I roll with stuff like that.
Yeah.
It makes me uncomfortable, especially when somebody's doing something this big for you, right?
It's the biggest.
Where you don't go above and beyond what's asked. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like, and I get it. Listen, our agencies are doing their job because they're trying to make sure that you're
yeah.
not spending more than you need to. But like
Yeah.
the difference between a room there and a room there is like an extra $150 or whatever.
It
It's
was,
like,
yeah.
I mean, no brainer. Like I'd rather,
Yeah.
do that.
I didn't want to like offend the guy of the agency or anything, like being like, oh, that's gross. Don't put her there or something,
No, we
I
weren't
didn't
like,
want to do
ew.
that. I mean,
No.
you kind of did.
What did I say?
On
I just said
text.
that's not how we roll. Man.
Yes, but you said it was whatever.
I
you
said
was
it's
funny.
fine.
It's fine.
It's fine, but we don't roll with fine.
And I had already booked the other one, and then he just refunded
Yeah.
the escrow, so it was fine.
Yeah.
But we made her happy, and that's what matters. And we want her to have a very stress-free
Exactly.
9 months or whatever
Yeah.
it is. But here's the craziest part. ChatGPT is my friend now, by the way. I ask it
us.
everything. But literally, if it's positive in 10 days, on Monday, I think, she's 4 weeks pregnant in 2 days already.
That's how it works.
4 weeks and 2 days. Isn't that nuts?
Who's she? Oh, you mean the surrogate? I thought you
What
meant
the
no, no.
fuck is happening?
I thought I had. Okay, forget it. Never mind.
You just leave at this point.
I thought you were saying the baby's a she, but
No, 4 weeks, 2 days pregnant if it's positive.
Mm.
Because the embryo has grown some, and then it's about her cycle. And that's why they like managed her period to be perfect. And it's crazy how it works. But then it means we would only have to wait for a heartbeat for a couple weeks. So it's all moving very fast.
Yeah.
Do you smell them? And don't lie. Don't
Nothing.
lie.
Nothing. Hold on. I'm gonna try to.
It's
Nope.
do you over
Okay.
there?
No. On that note, though.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay. So last night I was playing at the
Thank
Poker Go
God.
studio, and David Baker was sitting next to me, and he's like, like what the? He's like, it's brutal. He's like, the fucking sewage, and I was like, what? He's like, you don't smell that? And I go,
It's
I literally did. I
unbelievable.
went. But here's the thing. To my credit, the other people at the table didn't smell it either. He just has one of your broken noses like you,
Oh,
right?
but that would be the opposite.
Your broke nose. But apparently there was a sewage thing when the restaurant flushes out
Oh.
when they close the door. But I'm like, I didn't smell it.
So the other night in the bedroom, same thing. So when they were doing building the gym out back, and they were digging, I don't know what they were digging like for plumbing. I don't know what they were doing, digging. Every day that they would dig, the sewage smell would come out in our bedroom, and it would come from the shower. I was looking for it everywhere, and finally, I noticed it was coming from the drain in the shower every time they dig. And I don't know what that means or what it is, but you never smelled it, right?
You know, you actually get like this intense anger
Yeah.
when I don't smell it. It's like
Well,
I have
sometimes I
to
think
find
he's
a way.
lying.
I have to find a way
No,
to like pretend I do.
Listen,
I really do. Like
that's-
I have to pretend. Oh yeah, babe, it's terrible. And you're like, no, that's flowery.
I have, like-
I'll screw up. Do you smell that? Yeah,
Why are
babe,
you
it
looking
smells
at
great.
him?
I'm just because I'm
We're talking. What are you looking at him for?
because he's
You're
laughing.
so stupid.
What I'm doing?
So listen.
Why you? Okay.
Listen, Andy, house guest came, remember?
Yeah,
But-
you
and-
smelled everything too.
No, but I just said, hey, do you smell anything? I didn't say what it was. I didn't ask. I wanted to just see if I was crazy. I had like candles lit everywhere because it drives me insane. And he goes, like sewagey weird. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, my bathroom downstairs is smelling like that too. And it was when they were digging outside.
Yeah, the only thing I can smell or I can just feel it in my chest is when you put candles out.
I know. Then you like do that.
Yeah, I hate it. It's like I feel like I'm ingesting chemicals in my
but
chest.
I only do the soy ones.
The soy ones, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I blow it out and it's like, gets a little much. But hey, so how should I handle the smelling thing? Do you want me to just make stuff up or? Because if I don't smell it, what do you want me to do?
No, just don't. I mean,
you
I
get
don't.
mad. Like,
I'm
you
not-
ask me every time. Like, anytime you smell something,
I say, do you smell
you
that?
need me to smell it. It's like you're doing a barometer to make sure that I don't think
No,
you're
I think
crazy.
that's what I'm thinking about. So I
Right.
just talk about what I'm thinking about, just like you do.
Yeah.
You always talk about what's in your head, no matter what.
Who doesn't do that?
Like you'll change the subject. You do it on the podcast sometimes. I saw comments that said that. You know how like you'll go like, I'll be talking, say like something serious. I'll be like, oh, and like we're gonna get a pregnancy test in 10 days. And you'll be like, oh my God, Phil Hellmuth did this thing. And like your whole brain will be someplace else. You do that.
Maybe that's just like, when it starts to taper off.
It's just gone.
And I'm like, okay, I got nothing left to add. So my brain goes
Yeah, it's
somewhere
rude.
else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Don't look at him.
Why?
You get reassurance from Christian this whole time today.
He's laughing. I look where I want to look. What is this now?
This is our podcast.
I know. I'm playing off the crowd.
There's no crowd.
Yeah,
That's
there
what
is.
a podcast is.
But people do. Like, you don't see people play off the crowd. I'm doing my own. I do it my way. Okay, my way is sometimes I play off the crowd, like I do at the poker table.
Yeah, I'm going to look at you the whole time.
Go for it. Once in a while, I glance over there, look at
I
it.
know. I watch it back sometimes and I see you like going, ha ha ha.
Yeah,
like
look.
this. And I'm like you need like someone to
No.
reassure you that you're right. Okay. What did you want to talk about?
Okay, so this thought came to me this week because I had it. I learned I don't get involved in the Twitter back and forth. I just don't, except when I'm
Yes,
really.
you do.
Well, okay. Well, you let me finish.
I'm sorry, but that's just funny to me.
Look, I know myself.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I know how long of a period I went without even I mute all
Yeah,
the
you like took a
conversation.
break.
Right. Once in a blue moon. I'm not saying I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm saying when I try not to, and I almost never do, but when I do, I get in there and I always regret it because it never goes
Yeah.
well.
Because Twitter, you just can't win.
It's
what are
just
you
so
doing?
annoying because people the tone is different. You know how many times I've met people say some of the most vile shit to me on Twitter, and then I sit at the poker table, I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, I saw your tweet, you piece of shit, right?
Yeah.
Like I saw what you
They
said.
act like it's not
And now
real.
you want to be my buddy? It's because it's like that GIF. You know that video where the two dogs, where they're behind a gate and they bark at each other.
But then they get to see
and
each
then
other.
they open the gate and then they go, and then they close the gate and it's like, "Bow, wow, wow, wow." That's how they are.
Apollo's like that
They're
kinda.
little weasels, right? Where they can attack you from behind the keyboard, but then when they see you in person, they can't. So
Yeah.
anyway, where was I going? So what happened was there's this guy in poker, and I want to use the analogy because it reminds me of way back when, there were two female poker players that were considered the best.
I can guess those.
Who?
Can I guess those?
Sure.
Jennifer Harmon.
Mm-hmm.
I still consider her one of the best.
Yep.
And then Annie Duke.
Yeah, of course. So those two were
Uh-huh.
friends too. Okay.
Oh, they were?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought they
were
weren't.
very close for a
Okay.
while, and then they weren't. But so here's what's interesting with that. This is where I want to sort of parlay into where I was going with it because we're going to talk about one of my flaws because I know you enjoy that.
No, shut up.
You do. So we're going to get to my flaws, but
Well,
first,
because we talk about mine all the time.
yeah, first I'm going to paint the picture. So back then,
So tight. Ugh.
okay, as far as poker playing skill, Jennifer was better than her at everything.
Okay.
Okay, still is because she doesn't play anymore, right?
Yeah.
However, if you listened to them talk about a hand or explain a hand, right? Annie would speak with such confidence and assurance. She was very well spoken and it was like, oh wow, she must be really good.
Yeah.
Right. You'd listen to Jennifer break down a hand, and she'd forget what
She's kind of all over the place.
She'd be like, so I
Yeah.
raised the button with King Jack, and then I check raised the flop. I'm like, wait, you were the button.
And then she goes, oh, wait.
No, I didn't have King Jack. I had 2 4s. I'm like, what? So she tells a hand like that. So
Yeah.
objectively, you look at this one, you look at this one, and you would, based on the way that they speak, their vocabulary and all that sort of stuff, you would assume, well, this one's better than this one, right?
Yeah.
This one's the intelligent one, this one's not. However, the truth is, Jennifer maybe didn't eloquently know how to explain what she was doing, but she just had great intuition and just, knew the right answers.
She knew the game better.
Right.
Yeah.
But objectively, like, people would see these two, and they're like, well, she must be the expert because she sounds like one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it made me think of, like, there's a gentleman in poker who I think has, of any human being, he's got the most vast vocabulary. I don't think anyone in the world with the vocabulary that he has is dumber than he is.
He's not like
Consistently.
Ali. He has a great
No,
vocabulary
yeah.
and he's fucking
But I'm saying,
smart.
like, in terms of just being like wrong, but so certain and so convinced that he's
Yeah.
right. So I went into Twitter and I tried to be nice.
Really?
I tried to be nice.
What are
There's
you
this
asking him?
Oh, I didn't ask him. I did though, but if you read the tweet, I was going in there being nice.
Yeah.
Years ago on High Stakes Poker, Barry Greenstein and Tom Dwan were in this huge pot. It was $1 million.
Run it twice.
$1 million, right? Tom says, you want to run it twice? Because it's like a 50-50. Barry has aces. Tom has, it's 50-50 the odds on the hand, right? So Barry had a policy, right? You know Barry, of course.
Yes.
He didn't run it twice. He never ran it twice. He's always like, no, one-time guy, right? So in this case, they look at the hands and he says, I don't run it twice. He doesn't like running twice, but he has reasons.
So that's okay, right?
And then he's like, but if you want to take a couple 100,000 back, we can do that. Okay?
Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. And Tom Dwan, baller as he is, he's like a 22-year-old up-and-comer. He's like, nah. He's literally flipping a coin for like $500,000.
And doesn't
he didn't
take
have
anything
to.
back.
There's no edge now because there's no more poker being played. It's just you literally flip a coin and one of you is going to win $500K and one of you isn't. Okay. So I chimed in because I knew Barry and I understood the reason why he did it. And there was a very logical reason. Okay. He always said run it once because when people have the opportunity to run it twice, they're more likely to take bigger risks and try to bluff you.
Because they know that they can run it twice.
So let's say they flop a flush draw, and they're like, all right, I'll move in. If you fold, let's say there's 20,000 out there. You fold, they win the 20,000. If you call, they say run it twice. Now,
got a shot.
They're still an underdog, but they're far less likely to lose all their money. So I didn't word this. I didn't say per bet, but the idea is, let's say, for example, there's 20,000 in the pot. You bet 100,000, okay? Your exposure is 100,000. What I said, I forgot a word, is like, now your exposure is 50,000 per bet, though. Okay, so instead of making a $100,000 bet, you're making two $50,000 bets.
Okay.
So some people are going to be more willing to do that because when you make a larger bet, people fold more often, right? So I shared it in the most humble way. I said, no, I get why it seems silly, but here was why.
Here's
right?
why. Yeah.
I just shared that, trying to be, nice.
Nice guy.
And then he came in with you're basic, like, I'll paraphrase, you're wrong, you're stupid, that's not how it works, blah, blah, blah. The same old thing like he always does. And I was like, fuck me, right? Because I really did try.
Yeah.
But here's my...
Maybe he was looking for a fight.
Well, that's his MO.
You know?
I mean, he has more fights than anybody in poker, like, consistently. He's always involved in a beef with somebody, right? So I didn't want to be involved in it. But the thing is all these years, I'm 50 now, one of the traits that I know that I possess, and I've said this to him and he hates when I do this. He says, you parade around the fact that you're arrogant, condescending, like it's some badge of honor. It kind of is a good thing to know, okay? So I know that when I'm pushed, when people are arrogant or condescending to me, not only one, can I recognize it, because it's one of my biggest flaws, is it brings out mine and I'm so fucking good at it. Like if I want to be arrogant and condescending, I can really do that. So I went back with some of that, right? And then somebody said, oh, you were being arrogant. I said, yeah, you're right. After him. Like,
because then they can't fight you about it because you're like, I'm that too.
I mean, I am, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, he has this idea that like, because I own it, that like I'm parading it around. I'm just like, listen, I'm not proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm saying I wish I'm it's a work in progress.
Is it?
And I'll tell you what though, I do a much better job than I used to. Because I used to like use ad hominem attacks all the time, whatever. And I didn't here. I was just trying to explain to him. Because on the two major things that are poker related, that we got in an argument with like recently, he's like so clearly wrong, but so certain that he's right. The first one, he says, well, once I realized I was wrong, I switched course immediately. He did not.
No.
He went on a podcast and he did the Andy Duke thing. On his podcast, he was speaking to the people that are all sort of like, I wouldn't say, he's the main guy in there, right?
Okay.
So they do what they listen to him. So he was making his case, and a couple people on his pod were like, no, I don't think that's right. And he's like, no, it's like this. And they all sort of even though they know he's wrong, they kind of just cowered.
Ew,
right?
I hate people who do that.
Well, because they're questioning him because he's so good. He's so well spoken, right?
That they can't question him because they feel like he's right.
So yeah, they're like, oh, maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? So he has that, ability. And then like he says, well, I changed course. No, you didn't change. You literally continued days later to say that, you were right about something so incredibly stupid. And then Sean Deeb actually chimed in and told him and said, no, you're wrong on this one. And then he did, right?
That worked.
Yeah. But I'm like, no.
That works.
But the thing about it is, to not know this tournament concept, you couldn't ask. If you asked 100 people in any poker tournament, winners or losers, they would all get this right.
Mm-hmm.
It's so obvious. The idea is simple. I don't want to go all pokery, but it's as simple as this. If you and me made a bet, who's going to cash, right? Me and you were going to bet who's going to cash, okay? Say we bet $100,000. Okay, me and you. Me against you.
Me against you.
And it's a $100 tournament with unlimited rebuys. Okay?
Unlimited rebuys, 100K.
So, but we're betting 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to cash?
Yeah.
It's unlimited rebuys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, but we're not betting on each rebuy. So it's just cash or not cash. Okay?
Okay.
You play good. You playing A game, GTO, right? Me, I'm going to go all in every fucking hand until I get a bunch of chips, right?
Yeah.
Burning up $100, right?
Yes.
He didn't think that would give me an advantage.
Oh, I thought you were going to give me a test. I was like,
No.
let's do the rebuy.
Well, yeah. Well, the point is the question is like, here's the thing. If you go all in every hand, you're going to double up.
Yes, at some point.
You're going to, and you just keep doing it, you're likely to. So the idea is you play a high variance style. Because it was when we were trying to like iron out a bet that we were having. And it's so elementary and so obvious that like that was a blind spot. But he spoke so certainly and confidently about that, much like he did this. And again, like I said, I think people with like a very, vast vocabulary like that, they're very effective at making people think that like,
of course,
just like the Annie and Jennifer thing.
You speak that way, then you have that confidence too.
Mm-hmm.
Then people are like, oh, well, I guess he knows.
Yeah. Cause it was amazing to me that the guys on his podcast, they were like saying, no, but I think it worked. And then he was like, no. Da-da-da. And they just went, oh, I guess I'm, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though they know they're right. So anyway, I just find that fascinating that like, I spot it so clearly in other people. Like, I actually think he's a good person. I really do. I think he's a good man. I think he's an honest man. I think he, is
oh,
good
wow,
to
I've
his
never
friends.
heard you say these things.
I really do. Like, I think he genuinely believes, like, he fights for like good. I don't think there's a bad bone in the guy's body. I think that he's completely blind to the same affliction that I have, which is arrogance and condescension in a big way. And whenever he's poked at, he goes directly there, right? But it's like, I don't know why he doesn't.
He always does it with you.
Oh God, yeah. Well, not just me, but everybody.
Do you think he doesn't like you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he would say nice things about you like you just said about him?
I think he would say some nice things and then follow it up with some sort of underlying dig, which I sort of did here anyway.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I genuinely think that he wants what's best for poker. I think he, I just think that like he's overly confident in his level of intelligence and understanding of all these issues. And he's so well-spoken though, that.
Do you think that I know he's well-spoken. Do you think he tries to use big words sometimes?
I don't know.
Sometimes it feels like the words are like, whoa.
I don't know. No, I think like if you listen to some people, there's a guy named Godsod. Have you heard of him? Godsod. He's whatever. Anyway, he's an intellectual. He goes on Rogan a bunch of times and all that. And he speaks a language that is so natural and so fluid for him that he's using big words all the time. But it just makes sense.
But it does. Like with Ali, it makes sense to me.
Right. They're not trying. I don't know that that's the case. I think it's like if you're well-read and you read a lot of books and you do that, and like you just, you end up just speaking.
But some people you can tell they're trying. I can see that with some people that they're trying hard.
Yeah.
Some people are natural.
When I try, I end up sounding so stupid because I'll use the wrong word. And then think it meant something else. I'm like, I've heard this word used before. Oh, I guess I used it.
It's not right.
So now what I do, especially in a tweet, is I'm going to use a word like disingenuous or something. I'm like, I put it in the chat. I'm like, what does this mean again? Okay. There was a couple words I did out with recently. I can't even remember what they were.
Well, disingenuous isn't a hard word to understand.
No, I know. I'm just coming up with a random.
Okay.
But I do that because then what happens is, especially with social media, is then people, you write a whole post and they won't focus on the content of your post. They focus on the word. That's not what that means.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Kind of like my response to this, which was to say, I know you can still lose, like the bet, you could still lose 100,000, right? but your exposure per bed is 50,000. I didn't put per bed.
Per bed.
I said your exposure goes from 100 to 50. I meant per bed. I didn't add per bed. So
Okay.
now it's like this
It's the wrong-
horrific
oh,
thing
it's
that I
all
said.
wrong.
And it's like, burn him at the stake. But anyway, I genuinely tried all of Branchy to be nice. And then he went at it a little bit, and I had to come back with a little bit of being a dick.
That you did.
And then I let it go. Yeah.
It's funny part. You were upstairs and you were saying, you're going to talk about something like this. You're like, yeah, I'm going to talk about somebody. And then you're like, and you're going to be so happy you get to talk about one of my faults. Because we always talk about mine,
Yeah.
right? Everything shitty about me
Mhm.
and not about you. And I was like, I started naming your faults.
Yeah, you're like, oh, you mean your judgmental?
Your judgmentalness? Is that what we're going to talk about?
Judgmentalness. Pretty sure. Can we do a spell
Is
check
that a
on that?
word?
That one does not pass.
Judgmentalness.
Babe, there's no way judgmentalness is a word.
Judgmentalness.
No.
Look it up.
Christian, judgmentalness.
Makes me. Could it be a word?
Ruling.
It sounds right in my head.
I mean, no.
You're so judgmental.
You're
There
so-
is.
Where would
wait,
your
I-
judgmentalness is coming out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could see in that
Yeah.
regard, like if you're saying, you know, what I'm seeing from you right now is your judgmentalness is coming out.
Yes.
Like, I guess that's, but I don't think it's a real word. It's certainly not a real word.
Okay.
Real word?
Not a word.
Got it.
Can be
Judgmentalism.
Judgmentalism?
Oh,
Your
I didn't even know that
judgmentalism.
was one.
You can always add an ism to any word.
Yeah,
pretty much.
ismness.
Yeah.
No.
But
Okay.
anyway, I was trying because, like I said, you know what I do now with social media, and it's so much better. And the truth was, is like when I was bored at home, not doing nothing, I was just like scrolling, desk scrolling. I was talking to,
That's when it happens for you.
yeah, and I was talking to my friend, a close friend, who's like showed me his screen time. And he was like 8 hours a day. I'm like, bro, we need a detox. We went golfing and everything like that.
Yeah.
But what I do now, especially like anything controversial, if I tweet something, I just instantly post it and then I mute the conversation.
Right.
Because otherwise your mentions just go crazy and then it's like nonsense. And I also learned too to like not engage with like egg accounts or just, you know, those like random accounts that are.
I don't engage at all anymore because, since we were doing this podcast, there's so many comments on like, say, Instagram. I
Yeah.
used to be able to read if someone commented to me. I can't now. There's too
Because
many.
You know how I feel about that.
I know, but I've
fucking
never
app.
had that until now.
Okay. That app, the design of the app, the usability of the app is absolute shit.
I understand.
I
Some of
hate
the things you
Instagram.
just didn't know how to do,
Yeah.
which I try to show you, but I understand what you mean.
The text, okay? So on X, you know, you have a
completely
thread.
different.
You da-da-da-da. You know, Instagram, I'll post something, get 500 responses. Where the fuck did it go?
Yeah.
And then I'll even get a notification. Oh, you know, Amanda posted on my thing. Well, where did it go? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It just like disappears. I think the algorithm on X is much more user friendly, and I've never really. and
This is it's different kind of thing. It's pictures. I mean, it's not even the same
Yeah.
thing. People aren't
Like-
having like major conversations.
well, you see a bunch
It's
of
just
people
comments.
get into it in the comments. Like whenever we talk about Taylor Swift and
I know,
Miley
but I can't
Cyrus.
read them all. I don't read them anymore. Like
Mm.
I see a few and I'm like, oh, I don't know where to even start. So,
Mm.
and also, I don't know if it's happening to you guys, but my Instagram won't even load. So
Really?
I don't know if it's
Instagram's a
my
mess?
phone. Like I've restarted. I haven't been on Instagram because it won't work for me really.
Maybe you got to reinstall it.
Yeah.
But
It's not
social
doing that
media-
for you?
There was another topic you wanted to talk about, and I didn't want to forget it too, because it sort of lends in from social media and just like the media in general and what they've done to what
Bieber?
we both think of as a good man, like a nice kid.
He is a good man.
Yeah. And it's so ridiculous. Like I watched this video of Justin Bieber when he was young, and you saw some shit. Like people just grab his ass,
He was
kiss his neck. Like,
talk about sexually harassed.
yeah.
Blake Lively. He was sexually harassed.
Yeah, all the
By
time.
women, by
And
men.
they'd say, you smell good, whatever. It was like, and I honestly think that, and again,
He
I don't
was, like,
know what happened.
13.
I don't know what happened with the Diddy stuff and whatever. It's all speculation. But like,
Well.
I do think if you think about how sexualized this guy was, he's a good looking young kid that you look at what he wears.
All
What is he
bad.
wearing? He's wearing big Drew, baggy. I have no shape. I'm not good looking. Like everything I can to not be attractive. And I think there's something to be said about that.
Mhm.
Like, and this is the thing that people actually do. If you've had
I thought
enough
about that before, yeah.
people that have had sort of trauma in that area, they do everything they can to not bring it upon themselves, whether it's even conscious or subconscious,
Mhm.
right? Like say somebody who was a rape victim.
Yeah.
Far less likely to express themselves in a comfortable manner that brings attention to themselves versus, you know, hi.
Then they just made a line, and Haley wears that shit too because they just made the clothing line. So they both dress like in those sweatsuits all the time, mostly, unless she's
Yeah.
doing modeling stuff. But Bieber,
Yeah.
I think what makes me so sad is that he's always been so nice to everybody, right? You see him, how he used to be really nice with the media. He's not. It takes a lot for him to snap, and he snapped a little bit 2 days ago. Did you see
Mhm.
that? So he's walking
Well-
out of the grocery store or the store.
Some do the thing where he's smoking a blunt and going,
No, that's because he's on drugs. So he's like, fuck you, I'm smoking weed.
Yeah.
Okay. But you got to remember that he got really sick once and it wasn't drugs. He had like Lyme disease.
Yeah, Lyme disease.
Remember?
Yeah.
And he looked like he looks now. He looked really bad. Everyone's like, he's on meth. He's on
Right.
this. He's on that. Right.
yeah.
And people were certain about it in TMZ. Everyone was just going after him where he never came out of the house because of it.
Mm.
And then he started to get better because he found out what was wrong with him. And he put that song out like no one was listening. The Sorry, so I'm so lonely. I'm so lonely. Remember the song I was just playing for you upstairs?
Yeah.
And he was saying nobody would listen to him. He wasn't on drugs then. He's always smoked weed. That's normal. It's legal. But they came after him so hard that he wouldn't come out of the house. And then everybody fucking apologized. They're all like, oh, we're so sorry. We can't believe, people treated you that way and you were sick. Now what are they doing to him again?
Same.
The same exact thing. They tear you up and bring you down and tear you up and then,
Build
it's
you up
build
and
you up
tear you-
and bring you
tear
back
you
down.
down.
It's just like a cycle of that with celebrity, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it's funny because like everyone does this like game where like because you have this and that, you don't get to have problems.
You don't get to have
Right.
feelings or
Like,
anything.
oh, screw him. He's got his $200 million. Like, he's a human being, okay? And,
and he didn't ask for all that. He was a
No.
kid.
and there's this thing called, I don't know what it's called, but there's like a template where, like, in terms of, a bell curve, if you will, of like happiness. And people that are in poverty are unhappy,
Mhm.
obviously, because they're struggling, like if you're low. Once you get to a middle zone, let's say you're making a certain amount of money, you're at your happiest.
Mhm.
And then often what happens to a lot of people when they make too much
They're
is it
unhappy.
starts to go back down
Yeah.
again. Right?
Mhm.
Especially if you were, and not that I think he was, but I think like there's an unfulfillment. And with being famous, as famous as he was from such a very young age, and again,
But the media, it was the media.
yeah. And I don't know what happened to him, but if like you imagine coupling all that with his entrance into the industry, if he was involved in any of the stuff that people are seemingly,
With the P. Diddy stuff and all that.
yeah, the P.
Well,
Diddy
because
stuff. Like how much?
if you see the videos of him with P. Diddy, he was clearly
Oh
uncomfortable.
yeah, and he did the whole
He was
check for a mic
He
on his shirt.
clearly something is wrong.
Can we speculate? I can speculate. I
Yeah,
think
something's
yeah,
wrong.
I think Diddy did bad things to him.
I think
okay?
he did whatever it is, he did something.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was
And
emotional or physical.
This kid's
he did
got
something.
trauma, whatever. So the thing is, and I hate this. I hate that we have this class system in this country, or not in this country, but in the world, where people are like, "Fuck him, he's rich." I'm like, whoa.
Why is
you know
that
the
a
whole
thing?
eat the rich thing? It's
Yeah.
like why? Just because? Like why are you hating on this guy?
Yeah.
He's a great singer. He's really talented.
Sweet.
He didn't do anything wrong. He wasn't some billionaire tycoon who had was owning
And the thing, he was a child
medical
star.
insurance company. He's just a child star. And he's struggling with some emotional stuff. It's like, where's your sense of empathy? And I think for a lot of people, they play the comparison game. It's like, yeah, he's got nothing to complain about. You know what's rough? I got to work 2 jobs. And I get it. Listen, and I'm not talking down about the.
No, but you can't compare like that. Emotions are emotions. Feelings are feelings. People
Yeah.
feel how they feel.
I saw like just today on X was Mr. Beast.
People have depression.
Mr.
man.
Beast is like, this guy takes more flack for no reason than any human I've ever seen. It's crazy.
Mhm.
Okay. This last one is like, this article wrote that he said it's easier to be broke. And of course he didn't say that. He didn't say anything like that. But now he has to go out and defend the fact that he didn't because everyone's calling him an asshole for saying something like that. This guy went to, third world countries,
Yeah.
brought doctors, cured 1,000 people of blindness, and was told that,
He didn't do enough.
well, some of the people were like, well, how do you know those people? You're basically saying they're imperfect. Like you don't think they wanted to see? He was doing a nice thing. He went to a lot of these countries and he built water wells.
Mhm.
And it's like he gets condemned for things like that. It's like you can't win. So I think like when I think of someone who does it right in that right, it's like Joe Rogan because he gives no fucks. Like he doesn't care. Like I think he just is like he's himself. He doesn't read the comments, like he said. He's been dragged through the ringer, like hardcore, and he sort of survived on the other side when they really tried to attack him during like the pandemic when he was saying stuff or whatever. And it was like the one that really got me was when CNN, like he took his own concoction. He had a doctor. He got like all these different drugs.
Yeah.
And one of them was, the horse deworm or whatever. And he posted a video on Instagram a couple of days. He said, listen, I'm doing pretty good, whatever. I'm going to be hitting the bag. It's been 2 days. But he looked normal. Then he posted the same video on CNN and it was gray. He looked like he had grayscale and he was like sickly. And then they said, he's on horse dewormer, trying to like paint him in a bad light, right? So they did everything they could. They threw the kitchen sink at him.
I've seen TMZ do that to people.
Yeah. But what's interesting with him, I think, too, and the way that media has changed is in the past, they would end the guy. Like, he's done, right? You know, like canceled. Oh, but like, whoa, that's not what happened. What ended up happening was he ended up getting like 20 million more subscribers.
Mhm.
And his ratings went up, and like he ended up carving his own path. So I think we like live in a time now where because of podcasting, because of all the avenues like ours, like they don't have the control anymore
Yeah.
to be able to do that to people.
The only
And
thing that's scary is the AI, because you can make people look bad with that.
That's gonna happen
And then it's
in our
really
world.
hard to know what's true.
right.
It looks too real.
But I think what people realize too, and I don't know, listen, we're doing this podcast because we love it and whatever.
Yeah.
But I think like what I enjoy about listening to podcasts is authenticity.
Me too. Yeah.
You know, people being real, just having a conversation, which is why I enjoy his. Because like he had Bill Murray on today. Bill Murray's a great guy.
Murray.
Got great stories,
Yeah.
fun stuff. And okay, listen, the thing about podcasts is especially with the ones that are, guest oriented, which we may go down that road at some
Yeah.
point. If you're not interested in the guest or the
I just don't listen if I
That's
don't
fine.
like the guest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you'll do one on MMA. Okay, that's, not your cup
Yeah, I
of tea.
would skip
But then
that.
you'll see another one. You're like, oh, Terrence Howard. He's talking about crazy stuff.
Some weird shit.
We're talking about aliens. We're doing all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it's, again, I think what works for him is that from the get-go, he's
Some
been
people-
authentic. He just talks about things he wants to talk about.
I know. I hear what you're saying with that, but like the comparison is he has a platform where he does that, right? Where he talks.
Mhm.
When you talk about somebody like Bieber, he doesn't have a platform where he
Right.
talks like that. He's just
Yeah.
an entertainer.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. So they just put out lies and things about him, and he doesn't really have a way to defend himself
Yeah,
except for like, hey, fuck you.
You're right. But now he does. It just requires a vulnerability that maybe not somebody's comfort. Like, for example, you don't think Justin Bieber, like if he wanted to, go on Rogan for 3 hours?
Oh yeah, but he doesn't
And
want to.
I know, but you see what I'm saying? Is
Yeah.
like if there's a whole bunch of smears on you,
He doesn't.
one
you
of the most
shouldn't have
effective
to.
one of the most effective ways to tell your story is there because
Yeah.
it gets like whatever you think of like all the cable news networks, right? Multiply them by 10. They don't get the viewership that he does.
No,
It is the most watched, most listened to thing,
no. I'm just saying he's not a personality like that. He doesn't want to do
wouldn't
those
want
things.
Right.
And
But now you have more opportunities to
Yeah.
fight back against like fake, like media narratives that paint people in a negative way.
Yeah.
And like even this Blake Lively stuff, like we're starting to see like, okay, if they really had all the power that they used to have, they could have controlled this narrative, but they can't anymore.
We'll see how it goes. I think that some
Look at this
people
guy.
just say like some actors, they just want to act and that's their craft. They don't give a fuck about media. They don't want to talk about everything. Like everyone wants to talk about things. Some people don't want to be in the spotlight like that.
You look at probably one of the most
Do you think
successful.
George Clooney's going on there?
I think one of the
like-
most successful human beings at balancing this and doing this right. One, there's a couple. Jim Carrey's one of them, but I think Keanu Reeves is like from everything I've heard and read about this guy. He just lives a humble,
He's very sweet.
good life. He does his craft, whatever. He doesn't get caught up into it, and all the pain and the anguish comes from when you give it any attention. Like even me, like when I'm on like I say, when I'm bored and I'm on there, and then people start saying stuff about me that's like, that's not what I said. You see how poisonous and toxic it is because like starts to get on you, and you're like, then you go back and you write, no, this is what I said, and then they're like, oh, but what about that? I'm like, you stupid idiot.
And then think
This
about
is what
having
I-
100 million followers
Yeah.
that come out after
Yeah.
you like that.
So you have to
So-
find, like, if you are going to go down that road of trying to be famous or anything like that, one of the things that they should, I don't know if teach, but like one of the things that you should, if you have mentors around you, is go, how are you going to deal with this? Right?
Well,
And
you're
have a
never
plan.
just going to be good. They're always going to tell you you're bad at some point. No
Right,
one's
you
ever
live long
just
enough
good.
to be, what is it? You like,
Villain.
yeah, you live long enough, a hero, whatever. You can die a hero or live long enough to become a villain.
Mm-mm.
Perfect example. Whatever, I'm not going to get political, but Wayne Gretzky is the most beloved Canadian hockey player of all time.
Mhm.
Literally. Like everyone named streets after him, whatever. People in
Yeah.
Canada are super proud of him. The big hockey game came out. He didn't wear a Canada jersey. Said something to the benches, whatever. He's friends with Donald Trump, right? And after all that shit happened, whatever like that, they hate him.
Yeah, because he was at the inauguration.
And Janet, his wife, put out a letter saying he's crushed by this and whatever, like because he's
he
so
was at the
distraught.
inauguration.
Huh?
He was
Yeah,
at the inauguration. He lost
So-
his tooth there.
he lost his tooth there. Oh yeah, I think I heard about this story. Yeah.
Yeah, he lost his tooth at the
Yeah.
table and everyone's on the floor looking
Yeah.
for his tooth.
But anyway, he's a perfect example of, again, like eventually you're going to do something or say something that pisses people off that, like it happened to me too, kind of, I'd say in a different way. You know, like when I was in poker, you know, when first coming up, whatever, I had haters on the forums and stuff
It's always
like
going
that.
to be like that.
But then as the longer you're in the game, the more reasons people will find to hate on you and to discredit you. Also, generally speaking, is when the more haters you have, it's usually related to the amount of success you've had too.
Yep.
Like if you're a nobody who nobody pays attention to,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really get a lot of haters. You get a lot of haters generally when, you know, sometimes it comes from envy, jealousy, or sometimes just hatred of your opinions. And I you know, one thing I hate is I've learned to like go, okay, I have friends with a wide spectrum of opinions and I like them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I might disagree with some of their opinions, but I like these people, you know, and people have different lived experiences and
Yeah.
people have, you know, different views. People prioritize differently and what's important to them. And I try to like, I wasn't like this. I think I was so sucked into a bubble of just like hating people who were on the other side of me or, you know, but I've like completely gotten away from
Now,
that.
for me, it's just if I like you and I want to hang out with you, then that's if you vibe with somebody. That's all. I don't need to know every detail of everything you care about.
Right. But even if you did, like one of the things, well, I won't get into it, but like,
I don't know. There's some
like I feel like we can get.
there's some deal breakers for me. But I
Of
get it.
course, there's some deal breakers, and there's some for me as well, for sure. There's plenty actually.
Yep.
But generally speaking, I'm much more
Tolerant?
understanding and more tolerant of like, you know, just people with different views and
What I was
whatever.
gonna say before I forget, is that I forget what podcast I was listening to, but the person said, don't care if, you know, when you're getting all the hate and you're getting all the love, they're like, both of it's weird. Okay.
Mhm.
All of it's weird.
Yeah.
So like, don't get so attached to people loving you or hating you because none of it makes a difference.
So you
At
know
all.
the book that I love, The Four Agreements.
Yes.
That is one of the agreements, exactly that, which is don't take anything personal. And what that means is anybody's opinion is an opinion. It doesn't mean anything. It's not real. Someone says you're pretty, that's got nothing to do with you. Someone says you're ugly, it also has nothing to do with you.
I always live like that.
What?
I don't give people they think what they think. I don't give a shit what people think. Like, if that's your opinion, none of my business, sort of thing. That's how I feel about most things, about how people think.
Yeah. Anyway, it's one of the four agreements, and it really, like, if you actually live that way, where you don't take anything personal, it's very difficult to do. But I think one of the things that's cool about the four agreements is the fourth one,
Mhm.
which is do your best,
Mhm.
knowing that you're going to fail at the other three. Which I'll give you the four because it's very simple. Number one is be impeccable with your word to yourself and others. Imagine living a life where you did everything that you said you're going to do. You kept every promise to people. You kept every promise
But
to
it's
yourself.
not possible to do all that.
Okay,
but-
well, but I'm just saying, like, imagine you live that life, right?
Mhm.
As closely as possible. You're probably going to have a good life because
Yeah.
you're doing the things that you say that are important to you, right? That's number one. Number two is don't take anything personal. Like I said, you know, don't allow anything like the whole sticks and stones may break my bones.
Yeah.
But names will never hurt me. It's very, very, very important, especially for young people going into the social media world. Number three, this is one that I really like, it hit home and I learned like how important this is. Don't make assumptions.
Mhm.
I used to make assumptions all the time about a facial expression, somebody like not looking. I'm like, oh, I think this guy doesn't like me, whatever. And I've been so incredibly wrong about some of my assumptions in the past.
Mhm.
And I've learned to just like, if I do have an issue, come here.
He
Come on.
can't jump.
Oh, I know. Here. If I do.
See? Break his back.
You're all right.
Oh.
If I do have a question about, I'll just go to them. Like,
Yeah.
hey, do you have an issue with me? If so, I'd like a chance to I'll hear it and acknowledge it. And I've done this. I saw somebody said something about me on X, and I reached out to them privately, and I'm like, hey, I saw your post. I was just wondering, like,
Yeah.
I don't remember what you're talking about, which happened years ago, but like, if that's that's what happened, then I'm sorry or whatever. So that's number three. Number four is the most important one, I think, which is do your best,
Mhm.
knowing that all three are not going to be possible to keep it 100%. For example, like be impeccable with your word. Okay, I'm going to run 5 miles every week. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I broke my leg.
What's a word to yourself?
Yeah, I'm just saying, but like, keeping your word.
Mhm.
Obviously things happen, you get sick or whatever. Like the point is if you always do your best to adhere to the first three, you'll be at peace with life.
My therapist wants to talk to you about what you said about being impeccable with your word to me.
Huh?
My therapist wants to talk to you about that.
But what?
About how you said that to me on this podcast.
Oh, what did I
She
do?
saw the clip and she didn't love it.
What did I
because-
do?
Because you made it sound like, and if you go back and listen, it really does sound like, because I don't text people back sometimes, that I can't be counted on. And you actually kind of said that a little bit. And she was like, that's not all right. Because like, and she's never said anything like that about you. She said she wanted to like, you to understand why that was wrong. Because like what you're saying is like, you're telling people your wife can't be counted on when it's actually not true at all. I can be counted on with everyone that I love. I don't let people down like that. I just don't text people back sometimes because I'm like in a state that I don't, when I don't feel well or whatever. And she's like, and you haven't made promises to those people either. You haven't made promises to these people that you got to text them back at this time or that time or whatever. And she's like, that one she said she could see in my face that it kind of hurt my feelings.
Well, okay. Well, I'm sorry because really I'm sorry it hit that way. What I was really being very specific to that thing,
Yeah.
if, for example, if someone says they're going to be meet you up for breakfast at 7:30 in the morning, and then 4 times in a row they come at 8:30.
Yeah.
They can't be counted on to meet you at breakfast at 7:30.
Yeah, but you guys had a plan. You guys had a plan.
Okay, I'm just saying very specifically when it comes to texting back, right? We can't count on you being in a mental state where you're comfortable to do that in the moment, like right away.
Yeah.
So that's more what I was
in
like.
the moment, yeah. Like,
you have moments sometimes where you just can't because you're consumed with
but
what
if
you got
someone's
going
like,
on.
I'm in a car accident.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to text you back. I'm going to get back to you.
Right.
And she said she made me do this thing where she's like made me name things that I've done in the last like week or like 4 or 5 days for people. And it was crazy. Like with my mom, with my uncle,
you're very outward focused.
with Andy, with Lou, like to hear the stories and what's going on with them and check in on them. And you know what I mean? And how much I worry about the dogs and this and that. Like there's a lot of things. I worry about people way more than I worry about myself.
I know that.
And she was like, it didn't match up to what you guys were talking about, the context of the texting back. She's like, it just seemed, that seemed so silly.
Yeah.
Because the 4 Agreements is one of her favorite books.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So for her, she was like, that one doesn't match.
Yeah, no, again, I think the disconnect for me was I was being like in my mind, maybe I didn't say it well, but like in my mind, I'm specifically talking about that specific thing.
Yeah.
Like 2 texts back. Like we can't count on you feeling good and you feeling at peace tomorrow to like just first thing in the morning, you text back.
Yes. Well, especially if it's something that doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
For stuff like that. So.
Like if it's something that matters,
yeah,
I'm going to do it. If it doesn't matter, I mean, fuck. If you guys are talking about dumb shit on like a group text, I don't feel like it needs to be, I don't have to. That's all.
You didn't make a promise that you
I didn't make a promise. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, it's not an unkept promise. That's not the same as being impeccable with your word because you didn't give your word.
Exactly.
It's different if you said, listen, can you call me back at, tomorrow? And you say, yes, I will.
Yeah.
And then you don't. That's where, again, I should have been more, I was just
or like
spitballing.
meeting up for breakfast, like you said.
Yeah, I think that's more when you give your word that you're going to do something and you continually break it, then people will stop counting on you. Like,
totally.
Who wouldn't? Like the breakfast example is perfect, but like, okay, so Monday you're meeting your friend, they say 7:30, and they're like at 8:15 they say, sorry, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, happens, right? Happens. But then, Thursday they say, well, let's try again. Same thing happens.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, okay, now seeing a pattern.
Yeah.
The next Monday it
Some
happens
people
again.
are like
Guess what?
chronically like late
Right.
too, like that.
So if it happens 3 times, are you going to show up at 7:30 and be like, oh, I'm sure they're going to be there?
No.
No. They've lost their credibility.
Yeah.
In the sense that because they were impeccable with the word to themselves and to others, and then it has an effect on whether people would count on that person to meet them at 7:30 for breakfast specifically.
Got that.
Okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to clear that up because it did feel not good. That's all.
I'm glad you said something, and I apologize.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you. Look at us.
You have one heavier
I did.
thing that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I felt that coming. Oh God. Fuck. Last night, I didn't want to tell you because you were playing, but like I needed to tell you. I was on the phone with my mom and she sent me some like silly post on Facebook because I don't go in there very often. She sent me a silly post and I clicked into it to look at it while I was on the phone with her. Then I saw a post from an old friend's dad that said like rest in peace to my daughter, and that she had just died yesterday. And it hit me hard This is a person that I spent a lot of time with. You too.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of years. And I think she was on drugs. We know that. Like, she's had a hard time with heroin and whatever else. I think with her, it started with pills a long time ago. Like, I don't even remember how, but when I first met her, it was like pills. And she went to rehab probably 7 times. Like, her parents would send her when she was young. I'm talking about like really young. She was into, what party drugs. And this is a person that in my 20s, we did drugs together. We did like blow and ecstasy and all that shit just for fun. It didn't feel hard like that. So I remember I moved back to North Carolina and I was doing radio. And she texted me and said, went back to rehab. And in rehab, this is the most fucked up part ever. She tried heroin for the first time in rehab. So her parents couldn't keep sending her to these expensive ones. I mean, they're broke from it, right? And whatever about them. They were broke from it. And she went to like a really shitty one where you detox hardcore. It sucks. And somebody snuck in heroin. And she tried it for the first time in rehab. And obviously she was already hooked on opioids, right?
Yeah.
So now she comes out of rehab addicted to heroin, which is the shittiest thing, obviously. And it never stopped from then on. And that was probably 2014, 15, something like that. And she has been doing heroin ever since. I moved back to LA in end of 2015 or 16. And I let her stay at our apartment. Melissa lived with me at the time. Let her stay with us. And she was the worst I've ever seen her. This girl, beautiful and funny and smart. You know that. Like,
Yeah.
so much potential.
Actress, comedian.
I mean, hilarious, right?
Skits.
Nothing was over the line. That's why,
she was very clever and quick.
So clever and quick and beautiful and just fun. Like, probably the most fun I've ever had with a person.
Yeah.
And I was expecting to see that person, right? And she called me. She was in trouble downtown LA and said, "Can I come stay with you?" And I said, "Yeah." And she got there and she looked different. She was already skinny. You know that. So he's thin, but worse.
Yeah.
And she's kind of dirty and like paranoid. And I knew something was wrong immediately because I was like, "Do you want to shower?" And she did. And she was like, she thought she had bugs under her skin. And she kept saying, "Oh my God." And she kept telling me, "Look, look, look." And her eyes were like wild. And I was helping her in the shower and telling her it's okay. There's nothing out there. And it was sad. She ended up staying for months. And she knows, everybody knows, don't judge with that.
Mm-hmm.
She has a problem. I tried to help. But I never judged her for doing drugs. I know she's sick. I knew she was an addict. I've known a lot of addicts. And it's like, I'm not going to tell her what to do. You can't tell people what to do. I did try to help her. And she said, "I don't want to stop doing it."
Yeah.
What do you do with that? I don't want to stop. And I said, "Okay, well, here's the deal." And I know this sounds bad. She was smoking heroin. And she was putting a little meth in there with it. It was bad. And I said, "No needles in this house. No needles in my apartment. Because I don't want to find you dead." I think that's fair. I was already scared of her smoking it,
Yeah.
But I was like really adamant. I didn't want that. And it happened.
She brought needles.
Mm-hmm. And I found her in the bathroom. And what happens when you do that is you kind of pass out really quickly. And I had to make her leave. Like, I couldn't keep doing it. And now I feel bad.
No, babe, it's not your fault.
Like, I feel, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah. I mean, you did everything you could.
Yeah, but like, yeah, she wasn't going to change.
I mean, it's been 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
Of
we
living
were
that
all
life.
broke. It was like I was still trying to help take care of her. and she wasn't working or anything. She couldn't like function. She was just on the couch and like, doing that nonstop. And yeah, and that happened. And I had to like take her to her dad's house, I think is where I took her. And I don't know. She got back with the guy who she was going to get back with anyway, but he was a bad guy. He was a dealer. And I don't know what's happened since. We've kept in touch. We've always had our like little ups and downs like girls do but over the years, which is fine. But we've always kept in touch. And I was reading our messages last night. And she just, I think the last one was 2023. And that's the last time I've talked to her because she wasn't responsive anymore. And that's, remember I kept telling you something's wrong. I feel like she could be dead or something. Something's wrong. She's not answering me. Or maybe she, like, somebody took her phone from her. Sometimes she just didn't even have one. She was out of it or whatever. But our messages going back and forth, they made me sad. I was reading them. And I tried to get her a hotel once in LA. And she's just been through it.
Yeah.
And and everybody felt like, oh, man, it's inevitable because she won't stop. And I feel like, and we don't know this for sure because cause of death has not come out,
released, yeah,
because it takes a while for that. It just says pending toxicology, but I feel like it fucking sucks because she probably got fentanyl.
I mean, that's one. Yeah, I mean, we were speculating. We don't know.
We're speculating, but like, come on.
I mean, she'd had fentanyl before, right?
Oh yeah. But like, it just takes such a tiny amount to kill you.
Yeah.
And it just sucks. I mean, she was
because heroin, as bad as it is for you, it's like
it's not like
you don't like just die from it, unless
you overdose on it. But the thing is a lot of heroin addicts know their limits. Like she was like a scientist with this shit. She like kind of knew exactly like what she was doing. So usually when you come off of it for a while, say like you went to rehab and you're off of it for a while, and then you come out and you still think you can do that dose you did before you went to rehab. That's when people die. A lot of the time. I don't know what happened. And I guess we'll find that out. But it's just really sad because she was almost 35.
Yeah.
And had so much potential.
She was really, like, I mean, you guys were in LA. She was like super funny, charming, like
everyone loved
beautiful.
her. Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, she was doing bits, right? And she was doing like little
before it was even a thing. Like on YouTube and shit, before it was
like
real.
If TikTok was around when she was
famous.
That age, she would have been huge. With her humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her natural wit. I don't know if I told you, but when we weren't talking somewhere along the line, she was in rehab and she called me out of the blue.
Oh yeah, you did tell me that.
Yeah. While she was in rehab. And just was saying, like, it was random because she never called me. Really. Yeah. And she just told me that, like, they told her that she needs to, she's gonna get out soon. Mm-hmm. And she said they want her to be around people that like don't use
clean. Mm-hmm.
So she called me.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't, but like I remember like she was, in and out of it. But I also remember back I don't know. I was hoping maybe at that age where she was at, she would grow out of it.
I didn't.
I mean, I didn't know her quite as well.
But you didn't know drugs too either.
Yeah. I was hoping that something maybe, she would just be like, all right.
I think like when you grow out of party drugs, like even if it's blow or whatever. And like I did that with her and we did all kinds of crazy shit together. And those are the things I feel like you can kind of get out of. But once you go heroin, hardcore smoking it, shooting it, it's like, you're stuck in that. And especially if you've had trauma, which she's had a lot of trauma, like in your life, it's really, really hard. And she was in the hospital I saw my messages from her. I was, I guess 2020. I guess it was after we were married. And she had been in the hospital with endocarditis, which is an infection of your heart. And she's in the hospital for a month and a half from infection of her heart from drugs. She had, she'd busted all of her veins putting needles in. It was like, I just always felt so sad about it. But point blank told me, I don't want to not do this. This is what I want to do. And I'm like, okay. But what do you say?
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I hate that you feel the pain of any doubt or guilt because she was clear, No,
I mean, just the making her leave my house, I think about that.
Yeah, but you have to like live your life too, And
I was scared.
Did you ever feel like what stopped you from ever trying it?
I would have in my 20s, I think. I think I would have been then. I think seeing her like that when I came back to LA, no way.
That cured you of any.
That made me be like, holy fuck.
This
No
is, this is
possible
different.
way.
This is different than like
This
some
is something.
ecstasy or blow or.
This is like, okay, I had some problems with blow in my 20s and it was rough. This is not that. This is like the worst you can possibly get is what she was like. And, it was a bad time because at that time as well in LA, the guy I was with at the time, like, very sweet.
Yeah.
We were very good friends. And we were together in LA and he had opioid problems from being in the Marines. He fell out of a helicopter and shattered his shoulder and they gave him pills. And he went too far with it. And because people with PTSD and they've been through all that shit, like it's easy to just want to check out. And I guess he was withdrawing and sick at the time. And I had gone back home to see my mom. She was having surgery and I left him there. And he was withdrawing. And Parker let him try. And it ruined him. It put him down a path that was like, it's not her fault.
No.
It's definitely not her fault, but it's like, it was there, And then he did that. And then, it took, he's clean for like 5 years now, I guess. Well, since we've been married, he's clean, so almost 6 years. But it's so great. He got out of it.
Yeah.
Because I think that like it was a short amount of time for him at least. Like a year of being like hardcore and whatever. But I remember coming back to LA and feeling something off. Everybody was off, Everybody was fucked up.
Yeah.
And I was the only one normal. And I think I was laying in bed last night, staring at the ceiling all night till like 7 a.m. And I was thinking, I made her leave. And then I was going through that with him, trying to help as much as I could. And that's when I had my first manic attack. And I didn't like ever put that, like.
That traumatic experience.
Brought that out. Yeah.
When you say manic attack.
Like this was my first big one.
What does that look like? What is a manic attack?
Just like my first manic episode where it was not just hypomania. It was me pacing and holding my head and like my thoughts wouldn't stop and you would do anything to make it stop. It was like that. It was like you want out of your own body and head and whatever that takes. And he was there enough to say, you got to go see somebody at least. Yeah. And I did. But it was all that was happening around that time. And it just sucks. You feel like in my mind and heart, I always felt like that would happen to her at some point. She didn't get clean and I never felt like she was going to. But seeing it, I was still shocked.
Like, I wonder for you, in the state you were in and all that, like being around all that, like how unhealthy that was for you too, because you're such an empathetic person and you're so outgoing and giving. It's like, the decision you made to have her leave, as difficult as that was, like that in the way that I could be wrong, but like for me, part of it feels like it, could have saved your life too.
Maybe.
Because who knows what turns you would have had.
Yeah, or maybe during that I would have tried something.
That's what I mean. And once you do,
and that you're right, that could have happened.
Yeah,
to make it stop.
Yeah, that decision could have saved your life potentially. Right? One bad. That's the thing that it's not exactly on the. But like, I think people when they think of drugs, like you joked about weed, and I said, "Well, it was Bieber." He's like, he's smoking weed. That's not drugs.
No.
And like the problem with like the classifications of drugs, for so long they put marijuana, heroin. What? No.
Oh God.
Like the idea that marijuana is a gateway drug to heroin.
No, my God. No.
The line is very, very
Believe
different.
me, I've done all of them.
It feels like
it's not.
Like I know enough people that have done casual drugs, they've done cocaine, they've done weed, they've done ecstasy, but I don't know anyone that went down that path of crack, crack,
yeah,
and heroin. That's like another level of not coming back.
Yeah. I snorted it once on accident.
Heroin?
Because I thought we were getting cocaine at the time, and sometimes you don't know what you're getting. And now I would never fucking touch illegal drugs because it's so bad.
Yeah.
But I remember it being like off-colored a little bit. Like, and heroin has like a brown to it, and cocaine's very white, obviously. And I remember doing it and then just like falling out on the couch and like not liking that. And like, oh, it's like when you're expecting an up like that, and that happened. I kind of knew.
I have so many fond memories of like when we went to Australia with her.
Yeah.
And then we went to Bahamas. My brother was there, and you guys were crying in my room, and my brother was like,
because we did bad things.
Yeah, you guys were being stupid. And like Australia, the plane, and just she was so outgoing.
Yeah, but in such like a troublemaker in a fun way. Like you loved it too. We had a blast.
Yeah.
The things
didn't
we
she
did,
get like a gay guy or something?
Yes. Yes. And then he came out with us.
Yeah.
In Australia.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, she thought she was like going to turn this guy straight. and he was like gay or something. And he came out with us and had fun with us. I don't know. It was like, she just had a presence about her that was very fun. I never had a bad time, really.
Yeah. No, she was always fun.
We took her everywhere. By the way, if you look back at our pictures, I have a ton of pictures of us. And I have pictures of you and her dancing, like dirty dancing.
Where was that at?
It was a New Year's Eve or something.
Yeah.
And there's one where you guys are dancing and she's like smiling, and the one I showed you before. And there's one where it's like you, her, and my other friend are like in a sandwich on top of each other.
That
like
one?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that picture now.
Yeah. And there's so many pictures like that. And I go back and it's years. And I look back and I see the very last picture I took with her was the end of 2016. And that's when I had her leave my apartment, I guess. And we wrote, "We're back, bitches," on the picture because it had been a long time since we had posted anything like that together. And me making her leave, though, didn't stop us from talking.
Right.
It just made me feel bad.
Like she got it.
Yeah. I mean, she was sad, but we still talked all the time. And I still saw her a few times after that, but she just got worse and worse. But we always talked, like even, after we're married, she said congrats. Like I couldn't get in touch with her for wedding stuff.
That's the thing when she's living that life, it's just hard to get a hold of her.
Yeah.
Because we would have loved to have, invited her to the wedding. And
I tried.
Yeah.
But she's missing, and she texts me, and she was with a man who was terrible, a dealer who just treated her horribly. And I was going through my messages last night, and she said, "Hey," and one of them from 2020, it's like, "Hey, if you get any mean, weird messages, it's from him, not me."
He had her phone.
He takes my phone from me and all that. It's like so fucking sad that you're going through this addiction, and then you have somebody like abusing you as well, and like mentally, whatever, physically, I don't even know exactly, but she's just been through it.
What did she want to be?
An actress.
Yeah.
So she was on MTV multiple times on those joke shows.
Mm-hmm.
Remember those?
Yeah.
And like you be in the restaurant and they're like fucking with people. Yeah, you could.
That's where she's really good at.
So good.
The bits like that where she would play a character and have no script, but like, yeah.
Do you remember that? We put a mural up in my apartment in Marina Del Rey, and we were so goofy in our 20s in bikinis.
Yeah.
And made a YouTube video said, "How many blondes does it take to put up a mural?"
Yeah,
the two
I
of us,
remember that
and
one.
it was silly and funny and fun and like.
I wonder if you still have that.
I could probably find it, but it's just we did shit like that all the time, and it was just fun. And I think that we're young, and she was really young.
Yeah,
she was 6 years younger than me. I think.
Yeah,
she's 35. Yeah, 6 years. And I'm not talking. The thing is I wasn't sure how much I wanted to share because it just happened. I didn't want to be disrespectful, but she was never secretive about any of this.
Mm-hmm. No.
She was very open about everything she did. I just didn't want to talk about like people she's dated or that we know, or things like that, because I don't think they want to be involved.
No, of course.
Okay. Like Eddie was really good friends with her, like with us. And I have pictures of us with Eddie, and he was so sad, last time when I text him.
Yeah.
But I text like her ex and things like that to say, and I don't think that anyone wants their personal information out there.
Well, that's what you have to do.
So I just tried
do
not
something
to
like
talk
that.
about
Yeah.
anybody else.
Yeah, that was that. I mean, that's the thing you have to think about when we're doing a podcast like this is you want to make sure that you're being mindful and respectful of people's privacy with stories like
and
that.
I feel bad talking about her drug stuff, but I also want to make sure you hear all the good.
Yeah.
So there's so much good that she was. Yeah.
It's a sad case of like unrealized potential that hit a point of no return.
Yeah.
You know? Because I mean, when I knew her, she wasn't doing heroin, right?
Oh no, we were both fucking around with blow and stuff like that when
That happened after. Like we were not really.
You've seen us do that.
What?
You saw us do ecstasy all the time.
Yeah, I know that, of course.
Cocaine
but
you saw.
Yeah,
saw.
I remember.
I know. I'm just saying like that. Those are the things.
Yeah,
we're
I
doing.
remember going into the men's bathroom in Bahamas and going, wait a minute.
No, you know what you did? You saw 3 feet under the thing. It was Madsen with us, I think. And we were in there. Like somehow she found it.
I went to go take a leak.
I know. And then you were like, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think about this early 20s, guys.
You were doing bumps. You guys were wild.
We were wild. And, you know, I think back now and it's like, I'm not going to regret it. All that stuff. It's just stupid.
You shouldn't.
And it's life.
You know, it's a lived experience. And I think like, I would say this though. I mean, just be thankful that I'm thankful that like it ended when it did and it didn't get worse.
Me too.
It feels like those types of, you know, those pathways.
It's easy to cross over.
Well, once you do, you're done.
Yeah.
It feels like, you know, and like, I get it. Young people like
well, I
to
don't think you're
experiment
done though. And I want people to realize that people do get better.
Yeah.
We know people in poker who've gotten better.
The first thing though is they have to want to. Like that's the hard part. That's I guess like the bigger
or not even
conversation.
want to, just being open to it.
Right. That's the bigger conversation about like how do you help people that are in that state, whether they're homeless or whatever. And if they do not want help or they just do not want to stop, I don't think there's any answer to it.
Like our friend in poker who tries to help people a lot who got sober, he said, you know, you have to get them to be open to it. And they don't want to. No one wants to.
Being like, I guess, as a good friend, finding ways to make the person see the value of actually living a sober life or being without it. And if you can do that somehow, I guess that's the only way. But ultimately, you know, it's you. So I think too with people, you can't just tell them that they want something.
No, you can't.
You know, like they have to be inspired somehow by what you're doing. Like I was just talking to a friend of mine, a poker player. He was like, guy's in great shape. Big, strong guy. He was 350 pounds.
Yeah.
Doing all kinds of stuff.
Like that?
Drugs and alcohol, eating, whatever. He was a big, fat guy, right? Great guy. I'll tell you who it is after because it's nobody's business.
Yeah.
But for him, the moment was he had a kid. And
it changed him?
Well, he realized like he was, you know, he couldn't play with his kid really. He couldn't get up off the floor. You know, he would get winded or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I'm going to show you the transformation. This guy, he's like, you see him now. He's big, ripped, and he's so positive and so happy. And he's like, it completely changed his life.
That's what I'm saying. People can get better.
Yeah.
They can. You know, that's why I love that guy that I follow that's Canadian. You know, my favorite guy, his name's Guy. Because he helps people get better. He's so good at helping people realize that they can have a better life. And you need people who can do that. Like he's very self-help with people who are addicted to drugs. And he's been there. So he can talk to them in a way that I couldn't talk to her about this stuff. And I wish she had somebody that could have done that for her. But, you know, it is what it is. And I hope that, you know, no more suffering.
No.
Because she was suffering.
No question.
Bad. I'm going to put up pictures of you and me and her. And I think Eddie is in one of them because he's okay with that. But I'm not going to put anyone else that knew her in that stuff. But I think it would be cool to put at the end, just a few pictures of us having fun. What do you think?
Do it.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Done?
Yeah.
Bye.